It was a crispy December morning. Calvin and his little cousin Corey were leaning against the side of his Cutlass Supreme smoking Newports, just like any other first Sunday of the month. Calvin was parked in the exact same parking space behind a factory which was closed and deserted on the weekends as he waited for his plug to arrive.
God damn, bruh. Where this dude at?
Corey asked as he glanced at his watch for the third time.
He told you he'd be here in 5 minutes. Man, that was 20 minutes ago. Man, calm down, fam. My boy Raul comes through with the raw and uncut every time.
Calvin answered as he flicked his half-smoked cigarette onto the ground.
He only live a couple blocks from here, so it won't be much longer. Maybe he had to take a shit or something, man. Who knows?
Corey rolled his eyes.
Yeah, whatever. What you need to do is let me rob this bean burrito-eating motherfucker for the whole enchilada,
said Corey with a mischievous grin.
And how stupid would that be when I'm already winning, my nigga?
Calvin responded.
See, that's your motherfucking problem, little cuzzo. You always talking about robbing somebody. I'm getting them dirt cheap and never stepped on as it is. So it ain't no way I'm burning this plug out, man. Just get that out your mind.
Both men turned their attention to the jet black Ford F-250 pickup truck with the big shiny rims as it pulled into the parking lot, flashing its headlights 2 times.
See, I told your ass, little nigga. Here come my boy right now. Now you just shut the fuck up and let me do all the talking, little cuzzo.
The man in the pickup truck pulled into the parking spot next to Calvin's Cutlass. He stepped out of the truck sporting a cowboy hat, snakeskin boots, and a half-buttoned silk shirt which was tucked into his tight blue jeans, revealing a thick leather belt with a huge silver buckle on the front.
Que pasa, Raul?
Corey blurted out, ignoring his older cousin's orders to remain silent.
Well, goddamn, amigo. You sharper than a motherfucking shark tooth, ain't you?
Raul looked Corey up and down with a puzzled expression on his face. Then he turned his attention to Calvin.
Who is this guy, Calvin? And how does he know my name?
Calvin stared at his little cousin with a look like he wanted to wring his neck.
Oh, sorry about that, Patron. It's my little cousin Corey right here, man.
Calvin announced with a nervous laugh. Corey walked up closer to Raul, then extended his hand for a handshake. Raul ignored his offering and instead kept his attention focused on Calvin.
This shit is fucking crazy, man. I thought you were smarter than this, my friend. I don't do the business with you no more, Calvin. That's it. Psst,
said Raul while shaking his head in disappointment. He turned around and headed back toward his truck.
Yo, Raul, come on, man. That was my bad, Patron. I swear it won't never happen again, man.
Calvin pleaded to his departing connection. Raul stopped short in his tracks and thought for a moment before he turned back around.
Do you know the problem with your people, man?
Raul asked.
You guys act more like wild animals than people, man. Adios, amigo.
Raul announced in a not-so-happy tone. He then pivoted back in the other direction toward the driver's side of his truck. The moment Raul reached his door and placed his hand on the handle, he heard Calvin scream.
Yo, Corey, no!
So he whipped his head around as fast as he could. The last thing Raul saw was Corey's cousin pointing a snub-nosed .38 special at his head. And the last sound he heard was the loud bang that the gun made when the man pulled the trigger. Calvin ran around the side of the truck to see his old plug lying dead on the ground with his brains blown out.
Hey, what the fuck did you just do, my nigga? God damn. Shit, you heard him. He wasn't fucking with your ass no more anyway. Last score's on him,
Corey said nonchalantly.
Now let's get the goodies and get the hell up out of here.
Corey slipped his pistol back into his pocket, then used his shirt to open the truck door so he wouldn't leave any fingerprints. Calvin could not help but laugh.
Holy shit, my nigga. I swear I can't take your ass nowhere.
Calvin bent over and dug his hand into Raul's pockets to retrieve his keys. Corey carefully rummaged through the inside of the truck, being careful not to leave any fingerprints, while his cousin used Raul's keys to unlock the toolbox, which was mounted to the bed of the pickup truck. 1 minute later, Corey crawled out of the truck with a large manila envelope full of cash in one hand and a bottle of Clase Azul tequila in the other, while Calvin pulled a large gym bag out of the truck's toolbox. They both made their ways back to the car in a hurry and climbed in. Calvin started his car and slammed the gear shift into drive, then stepped on the gas. On his way out of the parking lot, he took one more glance at the carnage they were leaving behind in his rearview mirror. When he saw Raul's lifeless body sprawled out on the ground in a heap, Calvin quickly stepped on the brakes and put his car in reverse, then began backing up. Corey looked at his cousin perplexed.
My nigga, why in the hell is you backing up? The exit is that away,
he said while pointing forward.
We can't just leave him here like that. We got to give ourselves time to separate from this shit, man. Ain't no telling who might see us pulling up out this parking lot.
He stopped his car right beside the corpse, then put it in park and reached into his glove compartment, pressing the button to open the trunk. Corey looked at his cousin as if he had lost his mind.
Cuzzo, are you fucking serious right now? Hell yeah, I'm serious. You heard what that motherfucker said. We got to stop thinking like animals, homie. Now come on.
The two men got out of the car and struggled to lift the dead weight of Raul's body and stuff it into the trunk of Calvin's Cutlass Supreme. Calvin slammed the trunk closed, right in time to see his little cousin pointing at the ground, where there was a small puddle of blood mixed with a few chunks of brain matter.
And what about that, genius? We might as well leave the whole body if we gonna leave that, because whoever see that gonna know there's a motherfucking body somewhere. You know what? You right.
Calvin agreed, while reaching into his pocket.
Here you go. Start his truck up and park it on top of that puddle,
he said, then tossed Corey the keys. Corey did as he was told, while once again being careful not to leave any fingerprints behind. A minute later, they were on their way out of the parking lot, with Raul's dead body in the trunk of Calvin's 1982 Cutlass Supreme. It was a crispy December morning, and Melvin was in his element, enjoying an early morning climb up the side of a snowy white mountain. Fresh snow on the mountain always made for a challenging climb, so Melvin was happy to be solo today. He was at his best when there was no one around to distract him, and it was just him and the mountain. Everything was going smooth and peacefully according to plan when a large crow landed on a twig right above Melvin's head and began to squawk. Melvin looked up and realized that the crow was staring right at him as it continued its deafening rant. The next thing he knew, the crow flew right off the twig and headed straight for his face. Melvin instinctively let go of the rocks he was gripping in order to protect his face from the charging bird. He lost his footing, and before he knew it, he was in a free fall towards the ground. The crow gave chase and continued squawking loudly as Melvin fell towards his inevitable death. Melvin awakened to the sound of his wife's voice.
"Honey, wake up,"
she said in her soft voice as she gently shook him.
I'm up, babe. What's up?
He said, relieved that he was not a human pancake.
"There's a nurse on the phone for you. She says it's urgent."
His wife informed him, then handed him his cell phone. She listened as Melvin put the phone to his ear and began conversing with the nurse.
Okay, is she there now? How far apart are they? Wow. Okay, set up a delivery table and I'll be there in about a half an hour. Thanks, Megan.
His wife already knew from the conversation and the look on her husband's face that duty called.
"Babe, but you just delivered twins not even 4 hours ago. Can't some other doctor deliver this one? Like, can't you trade and do one of theirs later or something?"
She asked. Melvin yawned and stretched out his hand before answering.
Sorry, honey, but it just doesn't work that way.
He responded with an exhausted laugh. His wife sighed.
"Well, go ahead and get ready, Doc. I'll make you something to eat."
Well, I'll have a bran muffin with a little bit of Greek yogurt on the side. I don't have much of an appetite right now.
"Okay, honey. And a cup of decaf, right?"
Methinks I better go with the caffeinated today, babe.
He answered with a laugh.
"Coming right up."
His wife responded with a smile. Within 15 minutes, Melvin brushed his teeth, showered, ate breakfast, then kissed his wife on the way out the front door. The rookie cop was staring out the window of his sergeant's squad car, taking in the city scenery as his superior escorted him around Los Angeles.
Hey, rookie, What do Americans and Asians have in common?
The old cop asked the young cop in the passenger seat of the squad car.
I don't know, Sarge, what?
The young cop asked.
They both love hot dogs.
Both cops broke out into heavy laughter.
Boy, am I glad they assigned you to me, and not a goddamn soul brother like they did me last year.
The sergeant proclaimed as he stopped at a red light.
I mean, those people are the freaking worst. You literally have to watch every single word you say around them, or you could end up in the IA office under investigation for civil rights violations like I did last year.
The rookie looked surprised.
Wow, is it that serious, Sarge?
He asked.
Oh, you bet your turd cutter it is. With this crack pipes matter or whatever they call it going on, and all the racial profiling lawsuits and carrying on, it's hard to do the job these days,
said the sergeant.
And they know they's got us by the balls, too. So they're emboldened as shit. Now, every time I do a damn routine traffic stop, it's like pulling over the Reverend Al Sharpton or something with all the bullshit I gotta listen to.
The rookie was laughing so hard that tears began to come out of his eyes.
That's funny,
he replied.
Hell, I don't know what you're laughing at. You're just starting out, so you'll have to deal with them for the next 30 years or so. 2 more years and I ride off into the sunset on a brand new Harley.
The sergeant proclaimed, then closed his eyes for a moment, imagining the bright future ahead. When the light turned green, he stepped on the gas pedal. Calvin rolled his eyes as his little cousin took another big gulp from the now half-empty bottle of expensive tequila.
You know you want some, nigga. Here,
Corey said, extending the bottle in Calvin's direction. Calvin shoved his little cousin's hand away and kept his eyes on the road.
What you need to do is put the top on that shit and put it up under the seat with all this other shit we got going on right now.
Corey piffed at the thought.
Shit, fuck what you talking about, my nigga. I just killed a man. I got to calm my nerves while you bullshitting.
He responded with a laugh.
Plus, if 12 pull us over, this open container will be the least of our worries, fam.
Calvin thought about his cousin's statement for a moment.
You know what? That actually makes sense.
He responded as he snatched the bottle from his cousin's grasp.
Shit, you may as well go on and fire up that backwood too, since you put it like that.
Corey looked at Calvin with a surprised expression.
Nigga, you starting to sound like my big cousin. I don't know who that scary-ass nigga was up in there earlier.
Calvin looked at his little cousin with a side eye.
Nigga, shut up and light up,
he ordered. Corey pulled the lighter out of his pocket, then reached into the ashtray and grabbed the blunt. As soon as he took one puff, he began coughing uncontrollably.
Ooh, nigga, that's that shit.
He yelled as the aroma of potent indica weed engulfed the inside of the vehicle.
Hey, I got another one, rookie,
the sergeant announced, as they drove down the boulevard on the lookout for traffic violations and crime. The rookie shook his head with a silly smile, knowing that he was about to hear one of the sergeant's racist jokes.
Lay it on me, Sarge,
he answered.
Okay, why doesn't Mexico have an Olympic team?
The rookie was already beginning to chuckle.
I don't know, Sarge, why? Because every one of them who can run, jump, or swim are already in the United States.
Both men laughed out loud as they approached another red light.
What have we here?
The sergeant asked himself as he pulled up behind the dark gray 1980s-style Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
Oh, shit. Hey, put that weed out, my nigga. And whatever you do, do not look back. The motherfucking popo's behind us.
Corey instantly looked behind them, as if his cousin had told him the exact opposite of what he had said.
Motherfucker,
yelled Corey, tossing the still-lit blunt out of the passenger window. He quickly reached into his pocket and pulled out his .38 Special.
Man, I'm about to jump out and serve these motherfuckers this heat,
he said. Calvin grabbed his cousin's hand with the gun in it and pinned it against his leg.
Little cousin, if you ain't never listened to nothing else I ever told you in your motherfucking life, please listen to me right now, my nigga.
Calvin pleaded.
Now stop panicking, take a deep breath, and calm your little ass down.
Corey looked at his big cousin, astonished.
Nigga, we got a dead body, the murder weapon, 2 kilos of cocoa, and open container up in this motherfucker. You sitting here telling me not to panic?
Calvin took a deep breath.
Man, they haven't even pulled us over yet, cousin. Stop jumping the gun.
In the squad car behind the 2 nervous cousins, the sergeant was shaking his head.
Would you look at these 2 idiots, rookie?
He said, as the light turned green and he followed close behind the old Cutlass Supreme.
So far, we've got expired tags, a broken tail light, no seatbelt on the passenger, plus he just littered right in front of us. You almost feel sorry for these people,
he said, as he flipped on the squad car's overhead flashing lights and blared his siren, signaling for the driver in front of him to pull over.
Well, should I panic now, or should I start waiting until they strapping my ass to the fucking lethal injection table to start panicking?
Corey asked through gritted teeth.
I mean, at least hit the gas and try to get away from these motherfuckers or something.
Calvin held his hand up.
Not yet, cuzzo. That's our last resort. First, let's try to talk our way out of this mess.
Corey slapped himself on the head in frustration as his cousin pulled to the side of the road and parked.
All right, my nigga, but as soon as one of these crackers say to get out the car, it's pigs in a blanket,
he announced, then placed the pistol beneath his right leg and raised his hands high into the air.
I see these two have done this before,
the sergeant informed the rookie as they headed towards the driver's side of the vehicle.
Do you see how the passenger's got his hands up high and the driver's got his hands firmly on the steering wheel?
The rookie took notice of what the sergeant was showing him.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean, Sarge,
he answered.
Now that's an early sign of respect. I like to call it the thug salute, because they're going to stay put just like that until I tell them at ease.
The rookie stood back, while his sergeant walked right up to the driver's side window and started talking.
Are you boys stupid or what? We're getting a freaking contact high just from being in back of you.
Calvin took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled before responding.
Man, you know what, Sarge? I'm not even going to sit up here and try to play you, man, because I know you are OG. We on our way to a friend's house to watch the game, man. We just lit up a little bit early.
The sergeant turned and glanced at his rookie while nodding his head, reveling in the homage he was paid earlier. He could tell the rookie was impressed.
Well, thanks for not insulting my intelligence. You'd be surprised at how many idiots do that, as if I don't know the smell of reefer after 30-plus years on the force. Passenger, you can go ahead and put your hands down. Now, driver, were you aware that your registration expired 2 years ago? Yes, sir. See, what happened was, I actually bought this car like yesterday, right? Feel me? But I got an appointment to go get a smog test tomorrow, so I get it registered and all that, everything like that, you know? Only reason I'm driving right now is because like I said, we're on a rented friend's house to watch the game. I literally live like 2 blocks away, sir.
The sergeant looked at the rookie and rolled his eyes before focusing his attention back on Calvin.
Hey, pal, the game is no excuse. I'd rather be at home watching football on a Sunday myself. But I don't think my boss would understand if I said, hey, boss, hey, captain, I can't come in today because I want to watch my favorite team play football.
Corey lifted his leg up slightly for easier access to the gun as his cousin continued talking to the cop.
You definitely have a point there, sir. May I ask who your favorite team is, though? Oh, I've been a Cowboy fan for over 40 years now. What? Oh, shit. Cowboys!
Calvin agreed enthusiastically while raising his shirt sleeve to show the sergeant the Dallas Cowboy star tattooed on his arm.
See, I knew you was cool, Sarge. We them boys. That's the only reason why I'm driving right now to my boy's house, because he a Raider fan. I just got to see the look on his face when we start putting that cowboy ass whooping on him, you know what I mean? I don't know. Those Raiders look pretty good this year, son. Yeah, but they can't stop the run, no, Sarge. And you know like I know that we got the best offensive line and running backs in the league,
Calvin proclaimed. Corey could not believe it. His big cousin was actually going to pull this off. They were really about to drive away from a traffic stop with a dead man and 2 kilos of cocaine in the car.
Now, you do at least have a driver's license on you, right?
The sergeant asked. All of Corey's optimism instantly melted away. He knew that this was the proverbial third strike. The pig was ready to forgive the weed smoke and overlook the expired tags, if only his cousin could produce a driver's license, which he knew did not exist. Corey raised his right leg up a little more, then reached underneath it and placed his finger on the trigger of his .38 Special.
Yes, sir. I do at least have that.
Calvin answered with a nervous smile as he reached in his back pocket and felt around for a moment.
Oh, fuck. I left my damn wallet sitting right on my dresser, sir. I knew I was forgetting something. I do know my number and everything, though.
The sergeant shook his head in frustration, then turned and spit on the ground before he spoke.
Okay, this is the part where I tow your car and haul your ass in for DWI,
announced the sergeant, setting off the countdown in Corey's head. In less than 3 seconds, he would open fire and let the chips fall where they may. 3, 2.
But it would be an absolute sin for me to prevent a fellow Cowboy fan from tormenting a dirtbag Raider fan. Now, you boys have yourselves a good day. And take care of that registration.
He ordered, then slapped the top of Calvin's car 2 times and turned around and headed back to the squad car. Calvin and Corey both kept straight faces as they watched the 2 officers walk back to their car and drive off. Once the cops were gone, they turned around and looked at each other for a moment, then busted out laughing and gave each other a high five. Dr. Melvin Sanders knew that he would make it to the hospital with about an hour to spare. With his patient's contractions 15 minutes apart, paired with the fact that her water had not yet broken, there was no need for him to rush. It had been a busy weekend for the doctor, who had still been an intern only 1 month earlier, but had already managed to deliver 8 babies in that time frame, counting the twins from the night before. When he came to a red light, Dr. Sanders glanced at his watch and realized that he was missing his favorite conservative talk show, featuring Don Hanneke, so he turned the channel on his satellite radio from down-home country music to Wolf Republic Radio.
Hey, rookie, I got another one.
The sergeant announced as they pulled up to a red light and stopped. The rookie chuckled before responding.
All right, let's hear it, Sarge. Okay, what do you call a young black guy in a brand new BMW?
The rookie smiled in anticipation of the coming punchline.
I don't know, Sarge. Tell me. First name pulled, middle name defucked, last name over.
The sergeant said with a wink while pointing at the car in front of them. He blared his siren and turned on the squad car's overhead flashing lights. When Dr. Sanders heard the squad car's siren and saw the flashing red lights, he figured the cops had just gotten a call and he was in the way. So he waited until it was safe, then made an illegal turn from the middle lane in front of the car to his right. He figured he would simply drive down 1 block, then make a U-turn back to the street he was originally on. He managed his way safely out of the officer's way, so he couldn't understand why the squad car had turned right behind him and followed so closely with its lights still flashing.
Driver, pull over now,
came a voice over the squad car's loudspeaker.
For crying out loud, guys. I've got a baby to deliver.
Dr. Sanders said to himself as he pulled to the side of the road. He watched in his rearview mirror as the 2 officers exited their squad car and quickly drew their guns from out their holsters, then pointed them in his direction as they approached. The doctor was sure that there had been some kind of mistake, so he quickly pulled the wallet from his back pocket, ready to show his identification and prove he was not the man they were looking for.
Put your fucking hands up now!
One of the officers ordered after approaching the driver's side window. Dr. Sanders reluctantly lifted his hands halfway into the air.
But what's going on here, officer? Did I do something wrong? Yeah, asshole. You just made a dangerous right turn right in the middle of freaking oncoming traffic.
The sergeant barked. Dr. Sanders instantly lost his temper.
Well, I made the turn to get the hell out of you guys' way when you turn on the siren. It's called common sense, you fucking prick,
said Dr. Sanders, upset that he was staring down the barrel of a screaming cop's 9mm.
I'll show you a prick, boy. Get out of the car right now,
ordered the sergeant. Dr. Sanders was growing more defiant with every second.
God damn it! My tax dollars pay you guys' salaries, and I know my rights. I am not getting out of my vehicle until you tell me what the hell is going on and why you pulled me over in the first place. I saw you fumbling around trying to hide something when I pulled up behind you. Now what you got in there? You got drugs in there or what? What you got in there, boy? Or is it a gun? Now use your left hand to reach out of the car window and open the door, then slowly step out of the car with your hands up.
The doctor did not budge.
I'll have you know that my brother-in-law is a renowned attorney. This little stunt is going to cost you your badge if you don't stop while you're ahead,
he promised. The sergeant approached the driver's side door of the BMW, then grabbed the handle and snatched it open.
I'm gonna tell you one more time, boy. Keep your fucking hands up in the air and step out of the fucking vehicle with your hands up or else.
Dr. Sanders shook his head defiantly.
Not going to happen, pal. Like I said,
I know my rights as a law-abiding citizen. I'm going to reach over and grab my cell phone so I can call my lawyer out here so you can have a word with him. I said keep your fucking hands up, asshole!
Said the sergeant, while steadying his aim at the doctor.
I am reaching for my cell phone and nothing else, sir.
Dr. Sanders informed the officer, then slowly began reaching his right hand down to retrieve his phone from the center console of his car. Corey and Calvin were still laughing about their good fortune when they stopped at a red light, only a few blocks from where they had just been pulled over. After another swig of tequila, Corey was in the process of passing the bottle back to his big cousin when they were interrupted by a familiar sound in the distance. Corey looked at Calvin with a surprised expression on his face.
D-Zam, cuzzo. You hear that shit? Somebody just got aired the fuck out.
Calvin shrugged his shoulders nonchalantly, then snatched a bottle out of Corey's hand and took a swig.
Shit, better them than me. Now roll up another backwood, little nigga.